Propofol Infusion Syndrome, Conrad Murray. Dr. Vicki again. I'm here with the Ethical Times reporting on 10/11/2011 on the Conrad Murray trial. Propofol has been talked about in this case, and the use of language and terms that Mr. Jackson called the drug. I was the first one to, as a bioethicist and as a medical doctor, to explain that to the public prior to any of the legal experts. So I want you to go back and review those YouTubes on that. What I'm going to tell you right now is something that you haven't heard on the trial, and you will be beginning to hear it. And Propofol has a syndrome. It's called the Propofol Infusion Syndrome. It was first written about in about 2003. By 2008, there were a few papers on it. But it appears that this is, something that the regular Joe out there, even the regular Joe doctor, may not have taken the time to look up. It's a syndrome that results in the giving of Propofol in many small doses over time changes the metabolic behavior of the person getting the drug. And if combined with catecholamines, and we've heard about wanting to give Mr. Jackson these up-type drinks, natural up-type drinks, any kind of catecholamine can react with the propofol, as well as glucocorticoids can act as well. And then the benzodiazepines can act and interact in such a way to cause a cardiac arrest. And we can also see what was called a peripheral vascular closure, where all the vessels close around the body and the heart goes out. Everything goes out instantaneously, like lightning, very fast. It's a syndrome, and what happens is the metabolism of the person is completely altered so that everything shuts down. And if you're not there, like right there, that second, you will die. So an anesthesiologist who would have a patient intubated in surgery could pull someone out and they could survive. But there are cases now documented that people didn't survive this Propofol Infusion Syndrome. And hopefully, as the experts are paraded, that more of this will be discussed, that this may not have just been a simple drug interaction between the sedatives being given and the anesthetic being given, that this may indeed have been this massive, fast-acting infusion syndrome that caused Mr. Jackson's death. We'll have to wait and see what the experts say, but this is something that has not been discussed. A little discussion has come out about giving the sedatives, that the sedatives in combination with the propofol could cause a cardiac arrest. We can also have what's called a peripheral vascular collapse. And I've seen these. And you need to have the anesthesiologist right there, and you often may have to call for, a thoracic surgeon or someone to get the heart going, even cut open the chest. It is a massive collapse of the entire vascular system that happens in a matter of seconds, within a breath. Take a deep breath, let it out. That's how long it could take. That is why you never give these medications without the proper equipment. You never give these medications without the proper equipment. And that you are skilled in the resuscitation, the intubation, that you are top of your trade, that you are right there. I would never take on that role. As a surgeon, I am a surgeon, and I make sure that I have an anesthesiologist who is at the top of their point and that they know what to do, and they're right there. And they don't, take breaks. They stay there in the operating room. And if they have to go out, another anesthesiologist comes in and covers for them, but not just like, oh, okay, I'm taking over. No, a full report is given. Even for a 5-minute break, a full report is given. The whole case is reviewed before the other anesthesia person takes over. Propofol infusion syndrome. And it's very likely that Conrad Murray never read anything about this, never knew about it, and wasn't even looking at the counterindications of the propofol with other medications. He just knew that it was, oh, you put people to sleep and it works fast. La la la. Very laissez-faire. He wasn't terrified enough, having given the drug 30 times in a high-risk situation. Wasn't scared enough. He should have been terrified every time that he gave the medication to Michael Jackson without proper equipment. And he shouldn't have been doing it. I mean, you just don't do that. So, Propofol infusion syndrome, it is in the medical journals, and I am sure it'll come out in the next few days as we hear the experts testify. And there was no mention of this at all by Conrad Murray. And if he was on top of his mark, he would have said, well, it could have been a propofol infusion syndrome that took place, and would have told the ER doctors. He told nobody nothing about what had taken place. And that's not how you conduct yourself in an emergency CPR condition. You are on the phone with the hospital, with 911, telling them what you know so that they know what you know before they even get there. Propofol infusion syndrome. Look it up. You'll see that in 2003, some of the first articles came out, and then we saw more literature concerning it in about 2008. It is a deadly, deadly syndrome. You have to be on your mark to bring somebody out of this. And that means you need to know all your medicine, all your science, and know how to do CPR and have all the proper equipment. And this happens in hospital settings. It happens in hospital settings. And people are saved by the doctors who know about the syndrome. Again, propofol infusion syndrome. Very likely we'll be hearing about it soon. This is Dr. Vicki from the Ethical Times. More on Conrad Murray. And these are the bioethical, medical, and science issues that you're not getting from your local press and your local and your TV. You're just not getting them. So please stay tuned.